Hello, evolutionaries. Welcome to another episode of Evolution Greenworks. This is, believe it or not, already episode 10. And we have something really special for you for episode 10. We're going to be interviewing Randy Baldwin, who is the director or one of the directors for Manitoba Sustainable Energy Association. So Mansea is what we call it. And you can see them over at www.mansea.org. So I'm going to just welcome Randy. Tell us about Mansea. I mean, a lot of people don't even know we have an association in Manitoba.
We're a well-kept secret. The Manitoba Sustainable Energy Association has been going for about 10 years, and it was really started by a group of interested people that just saw a need for promotion of sustainable and renewable fuels in Manitoba. And the ultimate goal of the organization would be to lessen our dependence on fossil fuels.
So is that like a biodiesel or is
biodiesel? Biodiesel and ethanol were certainly two of the first renewable fuels, and then shortly after that, biomass energy became more of a thing as well.
Oh, so like wood burning, right?
Wood burning and other waste materials, whether that be from forestry or from agriculture as well. Could be a straw or a corn stover type of product. That's
so if it's straw, they burn that on the fields anyway, so they could actually collect it up and then burn it for heat.
Right. Yes.
And thermal storage, I guess. So you could heat water with that too, right?
That's right. Yes. Okay. So you could heat water, you could heat buildings, any number of ways you could apply that. And in some cases, you can even use the heat to generate electricity as well, although that's not commonly the way that biomass is used these days.
So when they established Mansea, it was because they saw a need to share this kind of information with Manitoba?
That's exactly right. One of the big things that Mansea has been involved in is holding an annual conference each year, and the objective of that is to increase people's knowledge of the opportunities to substitute renewable and sustainable energy sources for the renewable fossil fuels that have been used in the past. Yeah.
So that's reducing your carbon footprint. I mean, that's all they talk about these days. You know, you've got carbon taxes and carbon footprint, and everybody's going, well, what is all this stuff anyways? And how does it pertain to me? And that's kind of where we fit in at Mansea. And I say we because I actually should say I am a director there too. So I do know a little bit about Mansea. It's one of the great organizations in Manitoba. And one of the things I think that's incredible about this is it's really was started by the people that saw a need, and it's for the people. So it's not really about promoting any one business or one technology. It's really about offering an opportunity for you to learn about all of them and seeing how you can apply this best to your life and if it works for you.
Yeah, an important part of Mansea's mandate is that we're very nonpartisan and non-agnostic to some extent in terms of any particular type of renewable fuel or sustainable fuel. It's whatever best suits the situation that people face, whether that be solar or wind or biomass energy, whatever it might be,
and
or
I
even
think,
geothermal could be.
And I think it also depends on the person, right? And where their location is, because not every renewable or recyclable or repurposing is going to work in every single location. And
exactly, and there's always conservation as well. Just reducing your demand for energy, of course, is a big step forward as well. So,
and that's definitely a consideration. And some people are just not in a financial position to make a big value-added change to their home or business. But there are small changes, and that's what we are all about here at Mansea. We're just talking to people about all the different options that are out there, and then you can choose to apply that to what you're doing. I personally, I know that maybe because I also own Evolve Green, I hear about the struggles from business owners and residentials all the time. And I think one of the biggest things is they just don't know what's available.
Exactly. And there's certainly been an increased level of awareness and an increased interest as people have talked more and more about carbon taxes and about the carbon footprint. which probably 10 years ago, hardly anybody was talking about the
10
footprint.
years ago, they didn't even know what the word sustainable or renewable really was talking about either, right? So carbon tax and carbon footprint and carbon offset, and everybody's going, well, what is that?
Yeah, it was a pretty forward-thinking group of people that got together initially to start the organization, and I'm a relative newcomer, only having been involved for about 3 years now. But sustainability is something I've always been interested in.
Yeah, I think that's what it's about, though. It's the spirit of it, isn't it? The spirit of change. We're here to help that process along, help people gain the information that they need. Exactly. And I think, can you tell me like a little bit like about the yearly conference? Like what type of things do you try to change it up? Are you looking for what makes sense in Manitoba? Tell me how you choose your topics.
Right. Every year there has been a sustainability conference, going back a number of years now, since before I was involved, as I said. And every year it's some aspect of sustainable energy and what is the most current and relevant topic at the time. So a year ago now, we planned to hold a face-to-face conference in Morden, Manitoba, and we had the program all put together and had a great lineup of speakers and a lot of interest from people. People had actually registered before we had to pull the pin and cancel the conference. So we're trying to build on that momentum that we had from a year ago, and to keep that momentum going, we did a number of webinars over the summer and up until just very recently. So we put on a number of topics related to sustainable energy. One of those was geothermal. One was biomass energy used to heat a school in St. Eustache, Manitoba, and one was related to First Nations use of energy and how that could be expanded in the future. So in those, we've worked together with the Manitoba Environmental Industries Association to jointly put on those webinars, and that's been a real benefit to both organizations to work together on those initiatives.
Definitely. That's pretty exciting stuff. So this year, I mean, the pandemic has created some pretty big challenges with most organizations. Are memberships up or are they down because of the pandemic?
Actually, membership is probably down a bit. Most of our new members come in as a spin-off benefit from the annual conference. So as I said, we had very good interest in the conference that was planned for last April in Morden. So we had some new members from that, but the renewal process was not gaining as much momentum as we'd hoped. So we're anticipating that with these virtual conferences that we're planning for this March and April, that will generate a number of new members through that as well. And if you want, we can talk about the details of when and when those are occurring and the topics, etc.
Absolutely. I think we're probably going to get to that after the commercial break, but I did want to say one more thing. Like when we're talking about this, there's something that we do have as an added val here. All those students. Now, those students, do we charge students?
No, we encourage students to join, so we let them in for free, and of course they can attend the conference at no charge as well. So that's a real benefit to young people to get involved.
And we also, this year, we do have student speakers, and they're going to be heavily involved in the conference. And one of our students, Kate, actually, she's going to be doing the social media help for us too over at Mansea. So they have quite a few roles that they can partake in if they want to. Membership is free for the students, so they can take part in something about the environment and learning more about the different sustainable and renewable energy options for Manitoba and the different kinds of technologies, but also they can offer in other things. I noticed that we have a really great group of students that are also doing their own projects at university or college, and they're bringing that with them and talking about what they are testing out and learning about, which is kind of interesting to, for the other youth that might want to take a look at that. So
Mm.
if we have any youth out there that are interested in the conference, it's just about signing up and getting to, more involved in the environmental scene. I think one of the things that we should talk about a little bit here too is we're also into policy. So it's not that we're partisan, we're not. But when it comes to policy and policy makers, we're connected to all of those. And generally speaking, we help shape policy when it comes to renewables in Manitoba and sustainable energy options and ideas. Is that...
Yes, as you'll know, Lorena, we've circulated surveys to candidates during the election campaigns in recent years to raise the level of awareness of sustainable energy and to learn what their company, their party's positions are on the various aspects related to sustainable energy. So that's been something that we felt is a valuable contribution to future policy.
And I remember that questionnaire. I thought it was really well thought out too. Mm-hmm. It was not, the questions were geared to understand the fundamental of why the answer happens, which I kind of really liked. And then that information got out to the members for them to, evenly balance all of the parties. And I think that's a really big thing because, there's the standardized stuff that goes out. And I can remember running, we get hit up with some pretty amazing, tough questions. But nailing down somebody who's running to say, yeah, this is what we stand for is hard, right? So you got to create the right questions to pull that kind of out. That kind of information, I think, is really good and value added. And I saw the survey and the answers, and I thought that was fantastic. I don't think everybody responded, but it was pretty good response, though.
That's right. Yeah, I don't think we got a response from all parties, but it certainly was useful for our members to appreciate the positions that the different parties did have.
Yeah, I think it was about 75%, though. It was pretty high.
Yeah,
it was pretty high,
which
was good. So, and we're able to garner a good response rate, which is nice.
Yes.
Which is all great information because, selecting parties as you move forward, some of them are for stuff, some of them are not for stuff. It's good to know where their position is. But when it comes to policies too, there's different things. I know we've definitely, even individually, been consulted by different rebate things coming. They're thinking about changing a policy and they're asking our opinions on different technologies. So we really are the core of those things. That doesn't mean they take all of their answers from us. It just means that we are at the table and we are definitely there looking out for Manitobans and making sure that they have sustainable options.
That's right. And we've been involved in advising Efficiency Manitoba, the new organization that was a spin-off from PowerSmart Manitoba, and we provided our input about how we thought they might best establish programs to support the development of sustainable energy. And that's just one example of where we've had a chance to provide input into policymaking.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to be talking a lot about that conference coming up right after the break. Randy, thank you. Just if you hang on with us, we're going to be right back after we're going to look at Anada for a second here, one of our sponsors. Welcome back, Randy, after that break. Did you know Anada, our sponsor over there, they have Manitoba-made natural makeup for ladies. They do. They have lots of other things too, but I like
noticed they had beard products. I thought that was appropriate.
They do. They do. Yeah, you should check them out. They actually have a lot of really good products. So, Randy, I wanted to talk a lot more about this conference coming up because it's coming right around the corner.
Yeah, we're really excited about the upcoming conference. It's going to be on 3 successive Tuesday evenings. The first one on March 23rd, the second one on March 30th, and the final one on April 6th. So we've set that evening and the start time of 7 o'clock each evening on those nights. And we picked a different theme for each night. So the overall theme for the whole conference is towards a sustainable energy future. And then under that, we've had a focus for each evening as well.
Excellent. So when we're talking about the conference, so it's going from 7 to 9:30-ish, and that with question and answer period, right? And it's going to be available through Zoom after you sign up?
Actually, 7 to 8:30 and possibly as long as 9, but it's an hour and a half to 2 hours. That's
Gotcha.
the range we're aiming for. Yeah.
Okay.
So it'll be 2 or 3 presenters each evening with a question and answer after that as well.
Oh,
and each of
so
those
you'll be able
evenings,
to ask questions on any of the people presenting. That's nice.
That's exactly right. And each of the evenings will have a sponsor, and a sponsor will have a short presentation about themselves and what services and products they offer as well.
Oh, excellent. I noticed that you do have a few sponsors already signed up, but there's a few to confirm.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see those on Mansea's website. So that's www.mansea.org, and go there. You can sign up for the conference, and you can. Is it individual nights or all in one?
One registration fee for all the conferences. And as we mentioned before, we do promote that people join the organization as well. So there's a very good feature in that if you take out an annual membership, and an individual membership for the year is only $25, you get the conferences for free. Or if you choose just to attend the conferences, they're only $15 for all three. So those are the options.
That's pretty reasonable. So for an extra $10, you have your conference and you have your membership for the year to find out what's going on all year long. And then you'll know when the next conference is coming and what topics and people are going to be speaking there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that's exciting. So, and the question and answer periods are really so that if you have questions, just hold it to the end, and then you'll be able to see that you can talk to any one of the presenters and ask them. I think that's important. Like sometimes webinars don't allow enough of that interaction.
Mm-hmm. And to encourage people, if they think of a question during the session, they can type it into the chat feature, and then it's there for us. We'll come back to pose it to the presenter at the end.
So if somebody can't make it to the conference, are you guys going to be recording them so that they can be available after?
Yes, that's a good point too, Lorena. We'll be recording these, and they'll be available to be watched at a later time if people can't make it that evening.
Oh, that's fantastic. And as I mentioned, we've got some students involved on a couple of the nights at least, right? So that's pretty exciting stuff. I really want to hear what these young people are thinking about and what they're involved in, because these are our next generation, and it's really important to get the students involved and keep all of that moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
So March 23rd, what is going to be that night? That's the first kickoff to the conference.
That's right. And I'm going to look at my notes just to make sure I got it right
all
here.
Good. I have a hint for you.
No, together with Manitoba Environmental Industries, as I mentioned, we're working very closely with them, and they're a supporting sponsor for the whole series of conferences.
And if you want to learn more about MIA, you can just jump over to, I believe it's mia.ca.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So, and they're really great, especially companies out there. Hint, if you need any training for your staff, you want to join MIA, because MIA actually offers a whole bunch of incentives for training your staff for safety, environmental, a whole bunch of things. It's pretty amazing stuff. So check out mia.ca.
So the theme for the first evening on March 23rd is solar energy and storage innovations and energy planning and public perceptions. So That's a mouthful, isn't it?
It is.
We've got 4 great speakers that will represent Manitoba's current and future leaders in the solar energy sector. This is near and dear to your heart, Lorena, because that's an area
Yes.
you work in all the time. Um, the first 2 presenters we have are Jacob Kettner and Daniel Lakavetsky. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Co-founders of PowerTech.
He's going to bite you, I think. I talked to Daniel. Very nice man, actually. Both Daniel and Jacob know what they are doing. They are with PowerTech, and they've definitely been doing a great job for Manitoba on the renewable energy scene. These guys are dynamic, and they're going to be our primary presenters that night.
And they're going to talk about some of the challenges that need to be overcome to really make solar energy grow in great volumes in Manitoba. The second presenter is going to be yourself, Lorena, and maybe you can just talk about what you're going to present, because you can probably describe it better than I can.
So I'm going to be talking a little bit about upcoming rebates and current rebates through Efficiency Manitoba to bring everybody kind of up to speed with what you can do with renewables. It's not just solar in a lot of cases. Also, I'm going to be talking a little bit about why we design the way we design, working with Manitoba Hydro so that you can get your best return for investment.
Good. And the third presenter that evening is going to be Kate Robb, and she is one of the speakers that we've talked about previously. She's a graduate of the University of Winnipeg in a bachelor's program, and she's now pursuing a master's degree, and
very dynamic.
Very
dynamic young lady.
Yes. Yeah. So she's pursuing a master's, and she's in the second year of that master's program. She's going to talk about the energy planning and the public perceptions of solar energy and other renewable energy sources. And as you said, Lorena, she's helping us out with the social media promotion as well.
Yeah, so she's very dynamic. I think she's going to do really well with this. It's always so important to help raise our students to the next level. I mean, yes, she's already a young adult, but it'd be great to see what Kate does in her future. She's very talented.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely is. And then, of course, we'll wind up with the question and answer session at the end of this, when people will get to ask the presenters whatever questions they've had over the evening. And so that'll wind up our session on the 23rd with the 4 different presenters, as I mentioned, 2 from PowerTech, Lorena, and Kate. So that's going to round out our program to do with solar. And then if you want, Lorena, we can just roll right into March 30th or...
Absolutely. So what do we have on top for March 30th?
March 30th is the focus is bioenergy technologies, and primarily biomass bioenergy.
Okay.
So we're going to begin with a discussion of one of the local companies, Triple Green Products.
Okay.
They're going to talk about their solutions using biomass heat for grain drying and for space heating in all types of buildings, especially livestock facilities.
So livestock, shops, this is the big deal then. So this is a really good one for the farmers too. Like,
right.
It's really tough doing those big spaces, and grain drying takes so much energy. Mm-hmm. It really does.
It needs huge volumes of energy in a continuous time frame. So, and of course, farmers are trying to get away from carbon taxes. So anything that would get away from using propane and natural gas.
I was just going to say, I know some farmers that just because they don't want to increase their electrical energy consumption or their service size, they go with these like on-site gas option or propane options. Yeah. But the carbon tax is really impacting them, isn't it?
Yeah, and Cam Cornelson will be our presenter from, he's a co-owner in both Triple Green and the parent company, North Star Manufacturing.
Oh, okay.
Both located in the Rosenort Morris area. And the 2 companies have come together in recent years, and it's been a very good fit for both to be working together, because North Star was already involved in in producing equipment for the grain handling sector. And so the triple green is a great addition to that with their various types of biomass heating. And so they're very excited, and they'll talk about the advantages of using biomass heat compared with using a fossil fuel based heat product. Heat
Well, that's
source.
wonderful. I really love hearing from Manitoba companies too, like, because then you get to know the faces of Manitoba industry
Right.
that are really leading and paving the way into the sustainable energy genre, whether that be for biomass or what have you. I don't think, I find a lot of places and conferences, they focus on outsiders. The grass is always greener somewhere else. I want to know what's happening here.
Right.
I mean, that's, to me, I think that's what's important, or should be important, especially, I mean, don't we have this whole shop local kind
Exactly.
of move? It's a movement now, right?
We should promote local people as much as we can. And
Yeah.
I think they've got a great technology. I think it's got some real significant advantages. And a couple of specific groups that'll be attending our sessions will be representatives from Hutterite colonies, as well as from rural municipalities and town councils from across the province. And they should both be interested in the space heating aspects that could be offered from biomass. In the case of municipalities, it might be to heat a community center or a sports complex, that kind of thing, or even hospitals, that type of thing as well.
So if you have a community center, you could probably donate wood and or like grain stock, right? Like the leftover silage stuff that's not being utilized for something else could be donated to the community center.
It may not be immediately apparent how you would use things like straw and corn stover, but they have big bins that have walking floors to move the product into a conveyor that then feeds into the furnace. So it's really a highly mechanized and automated system that's basically
so it's easier to operate in the right circumstances. That is.
Yeah, right. You just feed in a bunch of biomass material and let the system run until it needs to be fed again.
Well, I'd rather see that than having it burned off on the field, because then we're utilizing it for actually doing something. That's all we're doing here, right? So we're taking a waste product. So
and I think in the case of corn stover, I think it's a product that farmers would be glad to get off the fields because it's a bit of a challenge to work in and get the seed bed ready for the following crop. So.
Yeah, but I still see an opportunity where if you're donating something as a farm, you can still get a credit for that, and that can help offset your carbon credits that you have to, right? Yeah, so, exactly. I mean, that's what I kind of see, where I see that heading. And then the local church and the local community center and other public spaces can start being heated by something that would have just been burned or thrown away or whatever. So it's just using something that would have been not considered from before.
Our second speaker that evening is going to be Dr. Richard Grossians. He's with lead scientist with the sorry, I've lost my International Institute of Sustainable Development here in Winnipeg. Richard has a wealth of knowledge about harvesting cattails from the Lebo Marsh. A project that they did several years ago.
I read something about this. Do you know that cattails are actually quite tasty?
I didn't know that.
Yes. The base of the stem, it tastes like baby corn.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
And you can also pound out the roots, the bulb at the bottom, and dry it. And that actually is the leveler. So what happens is you can use it in bannock, and it'll raise... It'll raise the thing just like using the baking soda.
I'm amazed at what you know.
I've done it.
I don't doubt it. Yeah. So Richard is going to be speaking about that work, but he's also done a lot of work doing an inventory and an atlas of the different types of biomass energy sources that are available throughout Manitoba. So they've looked at forestry related resources as well as crop residues as well. So he'll speak about both aspects of that. And because of his work at the IISD, the International Institute of Sustainable Development, his focus is mostly in water control infrastructure, natural infrastructure related to water usage, water retention, water remediation. So that was how he got into working with the marsh at Lebo, because they were looking at methods to remove the nutrients that the cattails pull out of the water in the soil there, and looking at a way of getting them out of the marsh system. And the byproduct of that was this biomass that could be used as an energy source as well. So it's interesting how the different types of environment-related initiatives came together to sort of kill two birds with one stone.
Well, maybe now that I've let it loose that it tastes like baby corn, maybe people will start picking them.
Maybe. And the last speaker is going to be more of a traditional biomass use, and that's Clint Pender, who used to be a director of Mansea as well.
Right, I remember Clint. Mm-hmm.
And he's the owner-operator of Firewood Manitoba, which is a private company, and he sells furnaces for burning firewood as well as supplying firewood to people that are looking for a
So
good,
is that like
well-cured
wood boilers, or is that those electric wood stoves?
I think it's both. I think he supplies
both
the furnaces and boilers as well. And
nice.
I think they're both Manitoba-made products as well. So
oh, wow. Really? So for people who want Manitoba local, you can actually get it made here too.
Right. And to a large extent, Clint got into this as a way of diverting things that would have ended up in landfill. Of course, using trees that would have been hauled to the dump otherwise, and that sort of thing. So again, a very good environmental and sustainable story that he promotes. And then,
well, I'm looking forward to that. I'm definitely going to check that out.
Yeah, that should be a very interesting session, and we'll follow that up with a Q&A, as we did the first when we talked about the first evening, a chance to ask all the speakers questions related to what they presented, and maybe things that flow from that but are not necessarily directly related. Good.
Sounds like it'll be stimulating, a great conversation. I know I already have questions. I'm going to start marking them down.
Good.
What about night 3? So what are we doing on the third night, April 6th, right?
On April 6th, that's going to be our final conference session. And we'll be looking at new innovations in sustainable energy. And one of the more exciting presentations we'll have, I think, is a fellow named Denny St. George, who many people will know from his days with Manitoba Hydro, or even before that when he was with Manitoba Agriculture. He's going to talk about some of the potential future for electric tractors and other vehicles on farms and in.
I actually get questions on this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know quite how to answer them, but it's not my area.
Farm and industrial applications. Everybody knows that cars and other types of things are going to go electric over the next few years, battery-powered electric, and there is potential for tractors and other, both small and large tractors, to be converted to electricity as well. But one of the key problems that people see is how do you the downtime that you would have if you run your batteries down on your tractor. If it takes a long time to recharge them, then you've got a tractor that's out of service for a period of time. So what Denny has looked at, and he's seen this at Agritechnica, the major international farm equipment show in Germany each year, they've developed a technology that would use biomass feedstock to convert or to power a genset, so an electric generator.
So you're creating electricity now, not just heat from this stuff.
Using biomass to create electricity. And the idea being that it could produce huge quantities of electricity in a rapid time that could recharge a set of batteries in a tractor in like 10 minutes, if you could believe it, that they could put that much charge in that quick a time.
That's interesting.
That may well address a lot of the concerns about the downtime that would be involved in, that would be the time it would take you to take your tractor in and refuel, basically. So it's very comparable then to other types of systems.
Well, And farmers, they just go, like when they're harvesting, holy, I just want to say, I see our local farmers out on the field at midnight. I'm telling you.
Yeah, and the last thing they want to be is not able to run because, of any delay, but certainly to recharge or to refill with fuel is a significant factor. So this may put things that seemed out of reach, I think, in a lot of farmers' minds, that how would you ever go with a battery-powered electric tractor if it takes 6 or 8 hours to recharge it? If you had a system of being able to recharge, and especially for a farm that's at the end of the electrical grid and doesn't have a very good high volume power
I
delivery.
am really glad you mentioned that, because I know sometimes we put solar on those types of farms just so as they can have a grain dryer. I mean, to expand their farm would be hundreds of thousands of dollars in some cases, because they're at the very end of a line. Those farms are, let's face it, all over Manitoba.
That's
you
right.
know?
Yeah. And
So,
if you've got a location where it's an expensive proposition to put a hydro line in,
absolutely.
then other sources of power become very economically feasible.
Yeah, exactly. And if you, whether it's propane or stored gas or whatever you're doing, but if it would be nice to take this waste product and actually create the energy you need, the heat you need. That sounds like, I mean, it's always, they talk about real estate being location, location, location. I think sustainable and renewable is all about location as well. I think in this case, it's pretty pivotal. And I think this is pretty amazing stuff. I know I just did a show about 3 weeks ago about carbon capture and reutilizing the carbon. So I can imagine a world where we're using this waste product, we're burning it, we're creating heat, we're creating electricity, and then we're putting it through this carbon capture, emitting only 2% to the environment, and then taking all of that carbon powder back off and reselling it to industry.
Yeah.
It's utilized everywhere.
And you start to think how these different technologies could fit together. If we're talking about using biomass for grain drying and also using it to produce electricity, it's a system that could really decrease a farmer's carbon footprint in a significant way. And every decrease in that reduces the carbon tax.
Absolutely. And it makes them more sustainable as a farm, because they really need to have, like right now, I think we've come to this point where everything is so very expensive, even for families. We know this.
Yes.
We need 2 parents to work. It's very difficult to have one parent pull out and look after the kids in this society, because everything just costs so much money. And, it's just not sustainable as a society. We're going to hit that drop point. And I think we're there. The edge is already there.
Right.
A lot of families are feeling that right now, and especially family farms. And this is one of the main reasons why they end up giving up, which is too bad, because this is a heritage thing. This is a learned thing. This is almost muscle memory for them, growing our local food. And we don't want to see their farms sold. We don't want to see them sold. Why? Because what happens? They get subdivided.
But I didn't want to forget the other speakers that are on our final night as well. And that's, as I mentioned earlier, we're working very much with MEA, the Manitoba Environmental Industries Association. And on the third evening, April 6th, we're going to ask Jack Winram, the executive director of MEA, to speak about some of the initiatives that they're undertaking right now. And one of their major ones is a survey to determine the training needs and the job opportunities related to renewable and sustainable energy in Manitoba in the coming years, because they are very much involved in training initiatives and the sector council for these types of fields related to environment and natural resources. So Jack is going to talk about that and about the collaborative work that we've been doing together with MEA over the past year or so, and how we expect to maintain and expand that in the future. So as I said, Jack will be talking about that, and to be a chance to ask him questions as well as asking Denny questions about anything pertaining to.
Be a great opportunity for employers out there to learn about the opportunities at MEA. And I've been involved in MEA for quite a few years as well. And one of the things about that organization is they have a very clear mandates generally speaking, when it comes to the training and safety.
Mm-hmm.
And they offer some really good discounts for, like, you can get some of that stuff really cheap so that you can get all of your staff in for like first aid and safety and all different stuff. Mm-hmm. Not just that, but it's pretty incredible actually what they do offer. So that would be mia.ca, and check out Jack on April 6th. And then what's happening after that?
After that, we're holding our own annual general meeting. So it'll be a chance to update our members on what we've been doing for the last year and what we plan to do in the future. So it's not going to be very long at all, probably 15, 20 minutes. And we give a quick update and give our members a chance to ask any questions about what's happening in the future. And we do hope to have another student speaker that night, although we haven't defined who that will be yet. So that will hopefully be part of our final evening as well. So that winds up what we're covering in our 3 sessions, Lorena, and certainly look forward to covering any additional details of what we've been up to and where we're heading.
Well, I wanted to thank you so much for coming on the show today, Randy. It was amazing. I'm sorry that Wayne Ludman couldn't make it last
Yeah, that's
minute.
very unfortunate. Wayne is our acting chair, so it would have been really good if he'd been able to join us as well.
Absolutely. So we're going to just leave one of our sponsors, Evolve Green, and that will be everything. We'll see you next Wednesday at 8 p.m. So long for now, evolutionaries.
Why go solar? It's not just for the environment, although that is a great reason. Did you know that when you install your new solar plant, you are only paying 7 cents per kilowatt? That's right, 7 cents! Solar is now cheaper than buying electricity, 25% cheaper than buying it from Manitoba Hydro. Going solar is different from any other investment you will make in your life, as you will retain the value on your roof. Solar does not depreciate like other investments do, and unlike a GIC, your investment will start paying you from day one. And when you choose to sell your home, well, you will get the cost of the solar back, as this investment rarely depreciates. When choosing solar, look for high-end products like microinverters with 10 to 25-year warranties. Make sure your installation is done by a professional. We are Evolve Green, and we are celebrating 12 years in the industry and can help you put your roof to work for you. Ask also about your options like battery backup for when the grid fails, and how about solar heaters to get rid of snow buildup? Are you a farm or a business? Did you know that your solar is a 100% tax write-off? Yes, that's right. You can write off all the cost for the solar in the year you purchased it. This is a perfect investment for any business. In Manitoba, the portion a resident customer sells to Hydro is also a tax write-off in the first year. Farms pay no PST on solar systems. We build, design, and supply the best in solar power for both on and off the grid. For experts you can trust, call or email Evolve Green today. 1-866-5-EVOLVE or support@evolvegreen.ca.